and again Sun Java. So then sir is having the member of professional bodies like ISTE, EETE and IEEE. Sir has published around six journals and nine conferences in international and national area. And also, sir has given the expert talk and keynotes. That is, the first one is delivered keynote on harmful effects of RF on human in Bangkok, Thailand during international conference on 13 September 2016. He delivered expert lecture on radio wave propagation in AIKTC, Navi Mumbai on 4th March 2016. Delivered a guest lecture on Marcos chain in Locomania, Tilak College of Engineering, Navi Mumbai. Delivered a guest lecture on mobile communication in Yadavrao Kasgamkar Polytechnic, Karzat. Delivered expert lecture on networking essential in Pillai's Institute of Information Technology, New Panvel. Sir has delivered seminars also. Like he has delivered a seminar on possible solution for ill effects of mobile phones and line at Dr. Batu Loneri on 24th June 2016. And also he has delivered a seminar on network processor at Batu Loneri in 2017. He is working on the projects like UG level digital energy meter, and also project done in PG level is like instant messaging using SIP. And he has awarded and recognitions are like chairperson for international conference held at Thailand in 2016, has got a Best Paper Award in International Conference 2016 at Bangkok, Thailand, and approved examiner for UZ for Mumbai University and UZ. He is working as a reviewer for papers, reputed conferences and international journal. And his community development, like given a training to Maharashtra Police on basic computer education and jointly coordinated with Rotary Club Mumbai. So thank you, sir. We have a great speakers with us today. So I welcome you both, Kulkarni sir as well as Mahesh
Thank
Munde
you.
sir. Now I request Anirudh Kulkarni sir to start the session.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Mahesh.
Yes.
Good afternoon to everybody. This is Aniruddha Kulkarni, and I am coordinately with my colleague Mahesh Munde. We are going to conduct a session for the wearable antenna and its pattern deterioration. Basically, we all of knows about or we are very much conscious about the antenna pattern. Day to day, we heard many types of a pattern in our life, like eight of the pattern shape, or we can say dumbbell shape, or omnidirectional pattern shape. But this story is not actually truly matched with the wearable antenna. As you seen, this is the first picture I put out here. There is a wearable antenna which is firing a 2.4 gigahertz from its terminal. But if you see the pattern is ideal. That is the one which is we can say a simulated pattern. But a real time, when we actually capture the same pattern, we get so many kind of a deterioration. And today's my topic is related with the antenna pattern deterioration. Okay, so I'm going to cover basically what are the measurements which is applicable for the wearable devices or wearable antenna, and secondly, the challenges happens across the pattern, because in the pattern there is a tough challenge compared to a normal conventional antenna like a dipole, a Yagi-Uda antenna, which is made from generally like a metallic structures. Okay. First, I'm not going to be go in the deep of a definition of what is wearable antenna, but quickly we can see the structure of a wearable antenna. The wearable antenna always having a very small thinnest substrate is there. Okay, on that substrate, upper layer is your antenna and lower layer is a fully ground. And many peoples are utilizing a substrate thickness of 0.2 mm kind of a substrate to 0.8 mm kind of a substrate, which is very thin. And as you know, the width law tells about if your width is or height of a substrate get reduced, what will happen? Your conduction property get increases rather than your radiation. Correct? Means this substrate is more suitable for the conduction, not for your radiation. Correct? But you want radiation try to come out from this such kind of challenging wearable antenna. That's why I am taking the topics related with patterns. Okay, because see again, if there is a conduction, means there is a very less leakage radiation comes from your antenna. And if it is a less leakage radiation, then there is an quality of EIRP is very less. Okay, so we first quickly see what kind of a measurements we are complying for the wearable antenna. First thing is your impedance characteristic. Second is a far field measurement, and third is a near field measurement. Okay, as we know, the impedance measurement is a part of again kind of a lab testing like a network analyzer. We will check the parameter like impedance bandwidth, then we check the return loss, tunable bandwidth, or it's a VSWR bandwidth we are checking. When we talk about the impedance bandwidth is basically the basically it will prove only whether at what frequency your antenna is good or satisfactorily works for the 50 ohm impedance, or it also talks about where your antenna is fully resonating. Okay, but in the wearable antenna you see this picture. In this picture I clearly mentioned that there is a whole square, a circular kind of holes are there, and you want to try to fit this object is like a rectangular, correct? It is fitted, but with the help of some kind of external tools. External tools means, what are the external tools to handle the impedance parameter? Generally, to handle the antenna impedance parameter, you required here the vast kind of a matching circuit, which is the LC matching circuit, and which is very much closer to the feed of the antenna. So if you required some kind of a L or C matching, some people also do some matching of a T type or pi type matching for the wideband structure. But generally, when you are doing the matching, that matching is the circuit which is comply from the like inductor and capacitor, and they have some different impedance track matching phenomenon also. So there are naturally there are two types of circuits comes. One is the RF ground circuit, which is clearly mentioned for your antenna, where is the ground substrate is there which is covering the things, and the second is the matching circuit ground condition. So there is a LC ground condition, and there is an RF ground condition. So two ground condition, if it is matched, then there is a very critical stage comes to your antenna for the resonant matching. Okay, it is not straightforward matching, because every circuit, whenever you attach with antenna, what will happen? It will add its ground looping current. Okay, and that ground looping current is also takes place the part in the radiation, and this is the first biggest challenge happened in wearable antenna. Wearable antenna, due to the matching circuit and due to its ground presence, what will happen? Your return current is get vary, and that is in theory clearly say that if your return current vary, means your forward current vary. If the currents are vary, then your near field get distracted. If the near field get distracted, automatically the far field distracted. That's why my first point is to, whenever you are doing impedance matching for the wearable antenna, it is the very tricky job, and you are not getting on a smooth radiation pattern as I shown in a first slide, which is actually the ideal, and which shown by various simulation software. Basically, simulation software always show very nice graphs. Okay, so this is the near field concept. As you many of the people knows about the near field. Near field is basically the distance before 2d square by lambda. Even if you see this analogy of a candle, in the candle generally up to some distance there is a energy is not there, shadow is there, and after that the energy is present, correct? And the same story happen with antenna. Same story happens with antenna. Here is your antenna, here is your near field, this is near field, and this is your field, far field. What is the difference between these two things? You quickly see that electrical field and your magnetic field, E and H field, basically here is not matured. They are not propagating towards a Z direction. But if you see in the second picture shows that the far field E and H is mature, and they are propagating in a one direction called as a Z direction. So in the near field, that if the near in the near field some metallic or some dielectric object get added, so what will happen automatically in this area? Suppose any metallic or dielectric things is get added, what will happen? Your near field disturbs, and if the near field disturbs, automatically your far field is going to be disturbed. And this is what the second challenge is. What? Generally in the flexible antenna or in the wearable antenna, that is where you are on the shirts or on a device, okay, or any phantom body, what will happen? Many metallic or a dielectric material is very closer to that, and due to that closeness, what will happen? The near field, which is very strong, but not truly propagating to the z direction, that is basically hammered. Okay, so the conclusion is due to the nearest object of a dielectric and metallic, if it is near to your wearable antenna, your far field definitely get affected or degraded. Okay, I show quickly the near field relationship. Okay, see, this is the first picture where you can see this is the small person is there, and who is driving their tractor and having some antenna which is wearable. And when there is a transmission, you can see there is some big metallic objects are there. Okay, if high power is going to be transmitted, what will happen? The near field objects are get highest reflection, and due to the highest reflection, what will happen? Your again antenna standing wave get affected. If that standing wave get affected, your near field current affected, and surface current, if it is varied from some j angle, then what will happen? You can see there is a big pattern deterioration happened over the surfaces. Earlier in the simulation they shows only the circular, means omnidirectional pattern, but what will you will get? You will get a multiple lobes or multiple side lobes happened in the same pattern. So the conclusion is, due to the metallic objects, definitely your flexible antenna is largely affected. Then what is the solution? The solution is you have to put some kind of coating over it. Coating. So there is a one coating called as a HAL coating. If you apply over the antenna, somewhat extent it will be reduce the reflection current. And if the reflection current get reduces, your surface near field current also reduces. If it is reduces, then automatically you will get a smooth pattern. There is a big problem. I tell you again that all wearable antenna have only one problem, is called as the pattern degradation. Even if you design a lambda by 4 antenna, what is your expected pattern? Your expected pattern is a omnidirectional. Omnidirectional, correct? But in this case, you are not getting omnidirectional pattern. Here you are getting a thousands of side lobes inserted in your main lobe. If that is inserted in the main lobe, because why these are the two reason I already one explained. One in reason related with the impedance, which is related with matching circuit, and second is relationship with a metallic object. If the metallic objects are there, then there is a definitely problem. Generally in antenna, what we are looking three types of pattern. One is the basically one is basically the pattern called as the omnidirectional. One pattern is called as a bidirectional. One pattern is called as an very unidirectional pattern. Unidirectional pattern. So three patterns are there. So the cardiac pattern, a dumbbell shape pattern, fan or pencil, figure of eight, these are the actually popular pattern. But in the unfortunately in wearable antenna, this kind of pattern, directive pattern, is very hard to find. Very hard to find, because again your wearable structure not that much supportive for your pencil kind of a beam pattern or figure of eight kind of a pattern. Here mostly wearable antenna, the popular structure is your lambda by 4 structure. Lambda by 4 structure. These are the common antenna which we seen in the market. Okay. Now you see this uh, things. What these things are actually talks about pattern. Okay. So, and first frequency, first few frequency, if you see the in ultra wideband antenna generally, if you see there is for every frequency there is a different types of radiation pattern. You won't get a stabilized radiation pattern over the band in ultra wideband. It is not possible, correct? But in wearable antenna, here is the bandwidth ratio is very small, very small and very tough. Okay, even for 80 megahertz bandwidth or for 50 megahertz bandwidth, you get definitely there is a degradation of the pattern over the frequency. So this is the third challenging job when you are handling a wearable antenna. When you are handling wearable antenna, that time over the frequency band, your radiation pattern could not be constant in the theta and phi. Basically, radiation pattern is actually the field plot, which is we plotted across the theta and phi, correct? Which is showing our field strength pattern and or the power pattern. Okay, in azimuth and elevation, there are the different patterns you are getting in the wearable antenna. Because again there is a problem that in a wearable antenna, if there is a corner folding is there, then what will happen? Due to that folding structure, your elevation pattern is not going to be constant like your azimuthal pattern. And that's why in the two stages, theta and phi, there are different patterns you are getting. Okay, so we say that across the frequency, you could not find the stabilized pattern in the elevation and in the azimuth side. So the both pattern get deteriorated over the band, and the only one reason is the physically when you are giving some tilt angle to your antenna, wearable antenna, then your pattern get distorted. Same like that in a earlier here you can see this picture. Okay, now there is a so many side lobes are there. Okay, if a frequency get increases, automatically your pattern could not be get constant, and there are multiple side lobes generating over the resonance. Okay, now we will compare just bad versus good pattern. So this is the pattern what we are expecting in the theta 0, but if you say theta 30, again there is a pattern deterioration, so the pattern gets shifted over it. Okay, and if you see at a 60-degree, the pattern get multiple shifted, where in a conventional antenna you will get only one pattern, single pattern at the tip. But when you are getting when you are simulating or manufacturing the wearable antenna, at the two side, in a Cartesian side, if you see the plot, you will get 100%. There is a shift of degree. You can see here is a 30-degree shift, here is a 60-degree shifts are there, and there is a side lobe, considerable side lobes you are getting here. Here you can see the side lobes are there, but you can control which is under limit, very limit. This is the red color limits are there, but within the limit there is a side lobe. But in wearable antenna, there is a pattern deterioration happen, which is in Cartesian format. You can see. Then you can see the generally, if you want to manufacture the dipole structure in the wearable format, what will happen? You can see this is the, you will ideally you should get a 8 of the pattern, but if the wavelength get increases, you can see this here. You just observe it. Now I slowly increase the wavelength. What will happen? You will get multiple side lobes, so 8 to 9 side lobes for 3 lambda kind of structures, radiation pattern structures. This happens only for the conventional antenna, but in the wearable antenna, the story is one step ahead. You are getting 6 to 7 side lobes for your even a lambda by 2 structures, even for lambda by 2. So that is a much critical job for the an engineer to handle the wearable antennas pattern situation. There is a second problem related with the point-to-point link. You can't use this wearable kind of a thing for point-to-point link, because you need very directive pattern which is having very less half power beam width in a particular fashion, right? In that particular fashion, you need to maintain a half power beam width around 8 degree to 12 degrees, and that is very difficult in the case of wearable antenna. So normally you don't put the so much toughest job or towards the your beam width side. Okay, then there is a null parameter, so you can't control even the nulls, because at one step, if you are using wearable antenna, your null is rapidly fastly shifted due to various but the challenging again, second challenge happens in the variable antenna, that you could not control your null parameters, where your signal goes to zero, and side lobes basically you can't control that side lobe powers also. Here in the second picture, you can see this is the MSAT, VHF. So many antennas are there, and if you want to fit your variable antenna, that time you have to declare your null parameters, and that's why in a multiple critical environment, still now these days, these antennas are not utilized in the commercial or market. Okay. One more parameter is a very important in a cross polarization. Okay. Because of the smaller width of the or the height of a substrate, what will happen, your cross polarization level is could not be even great. It is very lesser than even a 5 to 6 dB you are achieving cross polarization level. You only 5 to 6 dB only you can achieve the cross polarization level. These are the measurement also possible for the for variable antenna: pattern measurement, field measurement, RCS measurement. Using single antenna and multiple antenna, you can do the measurements for variable antenna with the human body or a phantom body. Then there is a different polarizations are also there, but again there is a second challenge, because generating a sinusoidal and cosine based signals is a difficult in a wearable devices. So the surface current is very much a conscious point or a very critical point to handle it. Thus, we recommend that only the horizontal polarized or vertical polarized is okay, but for the polarization of a circular polarization, it is very difficult to handle such kind of a surfaces current. Okay, so the conclusion. The conclusion is basically three conclusions are there. One is the impedance parameter. If you are handling a wide bandwidth in a wearable antenna, your LC circuits are definitely there. Okay, and due to that, your current means your return current get varied. If the return current varied, near field affected, your far field is not going to be successfully propagated in the Z direction. That is the first problem. Second problem, across the wide band, if you want to pull the radiation pattern, same effect you are seeing, that there is a degradation. So for a very narrow band, if you are using for a one pilot carrier or for a two pilot carrier, very small channel if you are utilizing, then wearable antenna is good. Don't try to make it in a like a ultra wideband fashion, because it is very difficult for the surface current. Third is the polarization. Cross polarization level is very low. That's why even 6 to 7 dB is very kind of achievement is also big achievement for this wearable antenna. This is the third thing. And the fourth is when you are placement of wearable antenna, if it is near to any metallic objects or a dielectric, complex dielectric like a human body, then also it is very difficult to get a very good radiation pattern out of it. So there is a conclusion in that you have to first understand who are the challenging parameters of the radiation pattern. My I want in that half an hour, I want to just present that what are the challenges happened in the radiation pattern side, which will destroy your pattern. Okay, so again I come to my first slide. Okay, so this is what our aim, but to maintain the same, there are so many challenges are there. Four challenges, maybe bigger challenges are there, and due to that radiation pattern is very difficult to manage across the your impedance band. Okay, so we I share one software things also. One is the CAD FICO is the name of a software, FICO. Might be you heard this name. This FICO, CAD FICO software have one method called as okay. I will just uh, okay. Huh. There is one software called as CAD FICO. I recommend it because I utilize the MLFM method, that is a multi-level fast multiple method, and which is considerably good to achieve the or calculate the radiation pattern uh, after placement of an antenna. Okay, because see, wearable and making wearable antenna is one thing, but the second thing, when you place this antenna, you get a pattern deterioration or pattern degradation. Even if you design a lambda by 4 kind of architecture, which having a omnidirectional pattern, but when you design that pattern, what will happen? Your mostly pattern get deteriorated. Even and now I will suggest you one more thing with wearable antenna, that you have to make kind of a coating, some particular coating, so which will reduce the near field current. If that near field affection is reduced, somewhat your pattern get clear or successfully propagating to Z direction. Most of the time we seen that even pattern not propagating at a Z direction, it is going abruptly. And EIRP, effective isotropic radiator power, that also not going to be covered. Okay, even if you want to handle such kind of antenna, I will show you some kind of a material right now. I try to you can just have the view. I will rotate my things camera to you. Okay, so in this, in front of you, here is some structures are there before the reflector antenna. You can see this, this is the structure. These structures is basically made by some PTFE material. PTFE material, and that PTFE is a polytetraurethane foam. And if you utilize this material for the placement of wearable antenna, your radiation pattern not get affected. So here is our one test rig. The people are doing some kind of testing related with the range, and we called as a virtual loss test. Actually how much long your antenna should reach, that we are virtually giving some environment in a lab, and then we calculate basically the how much particular distance of loss test. Okay, there is my friend Mahesh is there, who is actually talking about more about manufacturing side of an antenna, various antennas, as well as the his last few years very valuable experiences from this antenna regions. So you have any question for me, so I can like pleasure to give the answer, or somebody those who already design and develop their antenna and want to test their pattern, so I can I would like to give some good information. I can share it with you.
Thank you, Kulkarni sir. Now, if any participant has the question, please ask the question. Anyone, if you have a question. And for your kind information of Kulkarni sir and the participants, as you have taken name of CAD FICO software, in our college we have like licensed copy of CAD FICO for 10 users. We have purchased that. Also, we have VNA, as you know, that like vector network analyzer of up to 20 gigahertz. So that facility we have in our lab. If any participants wish to utilize that facility, please, I welcome you all for that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Question is there? Okay, sir. Sir, thank you, Kulkarni sir, for your valuable time with your busy schedule. You have given a time for presentation, and I should be very thankful for you because you are the backbone for making me to success this FDP. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, I request Mahesh Munde sir, please start your presentation and guide our participants.
Thank you, Professor Mahesh. Thank you for a wonderful introduction. Am I audible?
Yes,
Professor
sir.
Mahesh?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Yes, 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 sir.
Are slides visible?
Yes, sir. Your slides are also
Yes,
visible.
sir. Yes, yes.
Today I'll be discussing, good afternoon everyone. Today I'll be discussing more on the side of performance optimization. Rightly what Anirudh has spoken about, what happens basically with the radiation pattern. So how to optimize the performance with respect to gain, with respect to radiation pattern, that we'll be discussing. I'll be showing you some of the antennas designed and fabricated. One. So today's presentation outline is, moreover, we'll be talking about band gap structures. So introduction about FSS, frequency selective surfaces, then various EBG structures, what all FSS are available, then what are the performance parameter for this EBG, and mostly as you are dealing with the devices which are operated very close to your body. So SAR is an essential and component because we have to meet the compliances being given by various governing bodies like FCC, TRAI, DOT. We have to meet the compliances. So we have to keep the SAR of your particular antenna. Antenna might be very good in performing other parameters, like might be very high gain antenna, might be good radiation pattern. But if the compliance of SAR doesn't meet, your antenna is a scrap one for wearable devices or your handheld devices which are operated very close to the body. So what are the materials being specifically used for wearable antennas? Wearable antennas along with the EBG structures for performance enhancement. Some of the microstrip antennas and the performance optimization results discussion. So we'll be going through this. So basically frequency selective surfaces and their applications in antenna have become a new research direction since past few years. They have taken the attention of the antenna community, and discovery of this FSS has revealed very promising solutions to the problems which were earlier being found in different antennas. So with reference to antenna, this FSS or frequency selective surfaces are being used. So in what way they helps? They helps in suppression of surface waves as the pattern deterioration takes due to surface waves or the standing waves being generated on the top surface or into the dielectric material of your antenna. So how to suppress the surface waves? So efficient low profile antennas can be designed near the ground plane. That is another promising solution. Field in some of the area or some of the portion, your field is highly concentrated, whereas in some portion it is diluted. So how to get uniform field distribution is another promising solution to enhance gain directivity and to have more directive radiation patterns. As in case of particular narrow beam antennas, wherever the applications are suitable, in that case we require directive radiation patterns. So overall, other is antenna efficiency is increased by increasing front to back ratio by using these particular structures. And moreover, as far as SAR is concerned, the reduction in power losses has to be achieved at a greater extent. So moreover, I hope in variable cases, many things might have been discussed. So I'll concentrate my presentation towards the specific absorption rate. So the types of frequency selective surfaces, what you could see is metamaterials. But in case of metamaterials, achieving different properties, resonant properties is becoming difficult. That means you need to get mu, because these materials are not readily available into nature. So you have to achieve the property by making either mu or epsilon negative. So you can get single negative materials, double negative materials. So another frequency selective surface is artificial magnetic conductors or high impedance surfaces. So this has got a specific application. Everything has got a specific application. The third category, what you could see in FSS is defective ground structures can be utilized with the variable antennas, or electromagnetic band gap structures can be utilized. So majorly the work will be focused around DGS and EBG. So how to optimize the performance. So these are the some of the metamaterials what you could see.
ப்ராப்பரா எல்லாம் பண்ணிருக்கான். அவன்கிட்ட இருந்து வாங்கிட்டு ரெடி பண்ணி தான் அனுப்பியிருக்கான்.
Will someone put the mic off? Someone is, there's some background noise.
அவன் அனுப்புனதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான்
So the metamaterials what you could see, these are the particular unit cells, and arranging unit cells in a particular fashion will create a metamaterial structure. And either you can use this with the antenna or on the top of the antenna or behind the antenna, so that performance can be enhanced. So different unit cells you can generate, you can analyze the properties, the resonant frequencies, and you can create an array. Another category of FSS is artificial magnetic conductors. What you could see is two different dielectrics, epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. This has made creating artificial magnetic conductors and cost taking asset. So in this case, so epsilon 1 is a different dielectric material, epsilon is a different dielectric material. Two different materials are sandwiched and a stacked layer is formed. So this is what you could see is a particular metallic conductive strips and backed with some another dielectric material to achieve specific properties. So high impedances can be offered. So these kind of structures are being mostly used in mobile phones because the devices are operated, because we have to divert back lobes or we have to minimize the back lobes. In that case, these materials are used. Another case is defective ground structures. Normally to achieve different bands or a multi-band structure, we go with different slots in a ground plane. We could etch the material from the ground so that a defect can be created in the ground, and different radiation properties, different bands can be tuned by using this. Next category what I will be talking more on is electromagnetic band gap structures. So these are, it has basically two different categories. One is your mushroom type and another is uniplanar one. So uniplanar, if you could see, there are certain holes, and these holes are called as vias or PTH. So the hole is being created not necessarily at the center of the patch, but at a particular point on the patch, and this gives me equivalent of L, whereas the gap between these two patches gives me C value. So by using L and C values, I can design EBG structure for particular frequency. That is what basic idea behind this is. And a very beautiful book is published on this particular EBG. So what another you could find is, this is another simple array of dipole elements being used, and ground is completely etched out. So this can be one of the electromagnetic band gap structure. In place of ground of your dominating antenna or main antenna, you can use this kind of pattern. Instead of having a full ground, you can use this kind of pattern. It gives certain different characteristics that we'll look into. And this is one of the spiral EBG unit cell which I have used in one of the antenna structure using this. Not necessarily you could arrange in the array fashion. You can surround it on the top of your antenna, at the bottom of your antenna, or you can have different layered structure also in this case. Now we'll focus on what attracted designers more towards this EBG. So there are certain advantages. Separate material may not be required. So you can design EBG on the same material. Another is special resonant characteristics. As like in metamaterial, we require special resonant characteristics that are not required in case of EBG. And the only thing over here you could see, the creating holes of 0.3 mm radius, that to be a conductive one, becomes very difficult. Creating vias earlier days, because manually it is very difficult to have that hole and to put conducting material inside that, because top patch and bottom ground are connected through this via. So this is my conducting part, perfect electric conductor, PEC material. So earlier days it was very difficult. Now due to evolution of certain micro machining things and fabrication techniques like LPKF machine can create vias very easily. So this has become very simpler and attracted more of the designers towards the EBG structures. So stop band and phase reversal characteristics, one of the most prominent feature of this EBG, can be utilized Whereas if we are using the same material and on the same material we are printing that, so the cost can be kept optimum as far as AMCs are concerned, because in case of AMC or a metamaterial, we require different materials. So on a simple FR4, you can create this. The only a limitation of this particular using EBG is you require a precise design, precise dimensions during the fabrication. So manually, your results might vary from the simulated one at a very different rate. But if you go with the micro machining or automated fabrication machine, then the results will be much closer and much better one. So the EBG structures are artificially periodic structures, most oftenly being periodic, but some of the researchers have utilized in non-periodic natures also. These are the structures which prevent, either they prevent, that means either they stop or block a particular band of the frequencies or assist those particular frequencies. That means either it can filter out or it can enhance the same band of the frequencies. So it has both the properties or the capabilities during the propagation of EM wave in a specific band of frequencies. So that means for a particular application, you have to design a particular EBG structure. Not all the EBG structures is not suitable to all particular bands. So one of the challenge is to design wideband or ultra wideband EBG structure. And you can get a thesis on this, wideband or ultra wideband EBG structures. So what they do normally is at any incident angles, if your plane waves or surface waves are incident on that, at any polarization, might be linear, might be circular, might be elliptical. So either they can block completely wave, that means good efficient filters can be designed. So antenna can be very good filter also. Either particular pass band or stop band filters can be efficiently. So nowadays a new concept is coming out, antenna and a filter, a combination of that both. So normally few of the researchers have named that filtena, filter and antenna, a combination. So they are usually realized by periodic arrangements. The single unit cell will resonate at certain different higher frequency, but when I increase the substrate size, the frequency can be reduced down. So based on your application, you can arrange 4 number of cells, 6 number of cells, 8 number of cells of unit of EBG, and you can create one structure and utilize that along with your antenna. So what could be either a dielectric materials can be arranged in the stack manner or a metallic conductors can be arranged. Different patches on a single dielectric material that can be utilized. So broadly they are categorized into 3 3D volumetric structures, but more focus nowadays is on 2D planar structures and 1D transmission lines. These are not rarely being used by some of the researchers, but most of the work is focused around 2D planar surfaces. So what properties make or what properties have attracted the researchers is both the waves. One is when your incident wave, any of the incident wave, when your antenna is operated, when you feed the antenna, one of the waves which are coming out from the antenna, either it is radiation waves or might be some of the standing waves. So any of the wave being incident will act as a surface wave if they satisfy this particular condition. So if kz is purely imaginary, it will act as a surface wave and more standing waves will be generated. Your VSWR will shift much above 2 or whatever the rated value you are taking, either below 3 or below 2, whatever the antenna designers choose. So the value will be boosted much above. So what you can have, you can use that as a filter. So the EBG structure shows a particular frequency band gap. Now what you could observe in this image is, this is the frequency from 3.5 to around 6, 5.8 something. Entire waves, surface waves are blocked over here. So usually my pattern should go like this, or reflection coefficient go like this. But what is happening over here? In first mode, the waves are diverted. This is my usual. This is the usual direction what the wave should take, but the wave is directed in this way. That means the wave is not allowed. The waves are being blocked in this particular band from 3.5 to 6 gigahertz. So we can call this as particular stop band filter. So the frequency band gap through which the surface wave cannot propagate for any incident angles or any of the polarization states. So completely black. So what is happening? So once I have a main radiating part, an antenna, and if I put EBG structure behind the antenna, what will happen? Whatever the leaky waves or the losses are there in the dielectric material or in the ground plane, the reverse current flows, that waves being generated by that, because ground will be also having a certain amount of conductive portion, that will be blocked or will be diverted in the front direction. So my front to back ratio is going to get enhanced. My gain is going to get enhanced. I'll be getting some, instead of donut shape, I'll be getting more directive radiation pattern. So these are some of the key benefits of using property of EBG. Another property what you could say is, if Kz is going to get a real value, in that case my incident wave will act as a plane wave, and for whenever the incident plane wave is incident on the material, what will happen? The reflection phase of a EBG structure, the phase will vary, reflection phase will vary from 180 plus 180 to minus 180, and a point will come, you will get 0 degrees phase. So if I get 0 degrees phase, that means that material will resemble like perfect magnetic conductor, which is not available into a nature. So we are artificially creating this material. So at a resonant frequency 5.8, if my application belongs to 5.8 or 2.4, in case of variable, we normally prefer the higher bands nowadays, 5 gigahertz onwards. So 2.4, either for WiMAX 3.5 or 5 onwards, might be 5.176, might be 5.5, might be 5.8. Newer 8.802.11 ABGN standards are coming out. So now, so to achieve this reflection phase 0 at that particular point, so in that case, what will happen? Your tangential component will become completely 0. That means no surface wave will exist. That means I'll get better impedance match. So my VSWR in that particular band will be below 2. So this is how we are going to utilize the property of EBG structure. So the moreover, why to go for EBG is, the reason is, in case of variable or in case of any of the device which is operated close to your body, we have to maintain the specific absorption rate of the body. So it is the time rate of microwave energy being absorbed inside the tissue. Might be your body or might be your head in case if you are using cellular phones. So SAR is given by d by dt, time rate of microwave energy, ET square. This is my internal induced electric field. So whereas rho is conductivity of a particular tissue, but the SAR value what we are getting is completely generalized one, because newborn baby will have different conductivity of tissue, adults will have, females or males, this conductivity of tissue person to person will vary. So it is a generalized term, and whereas rho is the density of the tissue, how much muscular the body is. So you have to test on several different phantoms, on a fatty phantom, on a thin phantom. So you get many of the voxel models inside the simulator, so you can use on that, you can work on that. So specific absorption rate is a standard and measure for absorption of these RF fields, whereas United States have adopted these standards and set different guidelines based on the recommendations of ICNRP and FCC. So they have set this to, in case of mobile phones, or in case of when you are using a mobile phone, head should not, or the SAR value of your mobile phone should not be more than 1.6. This is what the Indian TRI and DOT also refers. So TEC is one of the separate division of DOT, where any of the foreign company or the Indian company who is going to launch a mobile phone into a market has to get a compliance cleared from TEC. So the value should be, SAR value should be 1.6 watts per kg, less than this value in 1 gram of tissue mass. So they use Cosmore or Cosmore model to evaluate the value of this SAR. So European Union have adopted this European Union, some of the standards are lesser stringent. They uses 2 watt per kg in 10 gram of tissue mass. So the FCC is governing this whether your compliances have been met or not. Without certification of FCC, the compliance meet certification, they approves the particular handset, and then only the handset will be launched into a market. So each and every handset which is used in US, the information about that handset is on this particular website, FCC's website. So these are the rules which are based on the recommendation by NCRP, ICNRP, IEEE. IEEE has given a separate booklet. Now ICNRP, March 2020, newer standards have been launched. Now different compliances have to meet from 2020 onwards. Newer handsets, what will be launched into a market for 5G and 5 LTE onwards, 6th generation and so on. So this was about the compliances to meet. So materials for wearable antennas, what you could have is, as it is an antenna, I must have some conductive part, I must have some substrate. So in conductive, I can have a rigid or a flexible material. So in case of rigid, if I choose rigid, the conductive part could be copper, silver, or aluminum. In case of flexible, nowadays very smart textiles are available. The graphene material can be used, graphite, either ink, or certain liquids which has got a particular dielectric properties can be used. Then carbon nanotubes can be used. And mostly nowadays, what we generally the researchers use are polymers and their composites. As Anirudh have said, this PTE materials. Substrate, what you could find is PCB. Normally what we could see is for different antennas, either the manufacturer is Roger or some of the company who has manufactured FR4 or Teflon. And in case of, we could get nowadays the flexible materials are also available. In case of textile, either paper, rubber, polymers, foams, these are available. So these are the materials you can explore through. This is one of the good paper where different materials they have shown along with their properties. So some of the properties, what you could see is, this is my main radiating antenna, where we are using wearable antennas, and along with the wearable antennas to enhance the properties, to enhance the radiation pattern, as rightly said by the Anirudh, EBG can be backed up. So EBG, a separate material is being used, and D1 is a space, that is a distance between 2 different substrates. So this is air filled. So what you could see is, this is your monopole, rectangular monopole antenna, and is backed by this particular unit cell arrangement. So this is the EBG structure being created, swastik-like structure. So what you could see, the pattern over here is the antenna backed up with the EBG structure, whereas the radius, because the material is a flexible, so some cylindrical, your hand might be used on the hand or might be used on the leg part to get some of the health information. So over here, the radius is being reduced. What you could observe over here is the phase reflection is achieved, and this can be achieved either in HFSS or CST. I have used both, so I know only about both. I don't have much information about FICO. What you could see, because these are directly extracted from the paper, what you could see, the red dotted portion shows the radiation pattern in E-plane, donut shaped. But when I use, when my monopole antenna is backed up with the EBG, this is the dark one, grayish portion, my radiation pattern is being changed. So the person who is using variable is interested in reducing front to back or enhancing the front to back ratio. That means backward radiation has to be reduced. So my SAR will get minimized. So this is a dual band antenna. What you could see is the radiation pattern is enhanced, has become more directive towards front direction. So this is how the radiation pattern can be enhanced. A deteriorated radiation pattern can be enhanced by using EBG structures. Now another most cited paper, around 400 citations this paper has got, a dual band antenna, and around 4,500 reads. One of very different and rare paper. Most of the things are very much clear in this paper. Simple, your rectangular patch antenna, a monopole type, and backed with your EBG, 9 cells. So depending on what kind of application you are using, if you are using a lower frequency bands, I need more unit cells, might be 16, might be 25. If I'm moving towards the higher frequency bands, this will get reduced because it depends on your dimensions, actually, length and width of the substrate. That is how we design and model the antenna. So these are some of the materials which are being used in this particular paper. So they have tested it on these different materials. Very interesting paper. Those who are interested in working on this wearable can use this. And one of the textile institute is over here. They are also nowadays providing the materials as per your requirement based on your dielectric thickness, whatever you require. It's near Worli, Sasmira or some institute, I don't remember the name, but they are providing these materials, flexible materials. So these are some of the performance, because in case of wearable only gain enhancement and radiation pattern, only it was the focus of gain and radiation pattern. But how SAR can be reduced can be seen over here in this case, because in most of the papers, one particular frequency, 2.45 gigahertz is being used and reduction in SAR is being shown. But in this case, I have few of the examples where multi-band antennas are operated and we can see the SAR reduction in this case. So this is one of the paper by J. Shinde and P. Shinde. They have designed this antenna, and I have enhanced the performance of the same antenna, which was earlier published in 2016 in International Journal of Electronics and Communication. And now the enhanced version of this particular paper is being published in Peer. So this is your circular microstrip antenna with coaxial feed. And this is what EBG unit cell is. So what you could see, this is mushroom type EBG unit cell, and the design equations are over here. So I must get a resonant frequency based on the values of C and L. So this is the equivalent circuit LC model. So gap between two patches, what we could see is will give me a value of capacitance, and vertical vias will give me value of inductance. So based on these LC values, you can design the dimensions of the patch. So this is what, in what fashion you arrange. You need to carry out the equivalent model of the unit cells also. So you will get a model of entire EBG structure, and how it will enhance the properties can be seen. So as you could see this particular fashion, that means antenna will be in between, and my array is going to surround the antenna, the unit cells. That is how the equivalent model will work on. So this is the antenna which we have fabricated. If visible, you could see smaller dimensions over here, the smaller holes in the small M-shaped patches. This is 6 mm by 6 mm patch, which is surrounded to the same antenna. So what you could see is in back the entire ground, but whatever the surface waves are generated over here will be diverted to the ground. So what will happen at any plane incidence of the angle, the surface wave, as the whole is acting as what? Pure conductor. So the waves have a property that if my surface current is, or the surface waves are moving in this direction, on the ground it will move in reverse direction. So the magnitude or the gain will get reduced in that case. So how to enhance? The waves will, or the current will move through the hole, will go down to the ground plane and will get reversed 180 degree phase shift, and will come back on the top and will be diverted towards the front direction. So in this case, we don't require another EBG structure or a different material. The same material can be utilized to create an EBG structure. This is what enhanced version is being published in Peer. So what you could see now, how do I analyze this unit cell? So simply there are 4 different methods, but we have used the suspended line method in HFSS. So what you could see, Now, which particular resonant frequency I must tune to? Because my application was 1800 megahertz, long-term evolution, band 3. So that was the application, because first we have to target application of the antenna and then we can model the unit cell. So the unit cell is placed above over here and below over here, and my port 1 will be feed and port 2 will collect the energy being supplied. So it will show some fantastic characteristics. A phase reversal of this particular cell will be observed, and if you could see over here, the resonant frequency over here, or the phase, it is from minus 180 to plus 180, because we have taken a smaller portion on this left hand side. So what you could see is it is around 1.8 megahertz, 1.8 gigahertz, 1800 megahertz. So the unit cell property, a particular arrangement, we could get this phase reversal property. So the bandwidth normally, this array will offer from plus 90 to minus 90. So whatever you get at plus 90, go down, mark the frequency, minus 90, mark the frequency. This entire will be your bandwidth of the EBG structure. So it will offer either stop band or might prevent passage of those frequencies in this particular band from plus 90 to minus 90. More stronger opposition will be around 0 and with from plus 45 to minus 45, but normally designers consider plus 90 to minus 90. Some of the papers you could see plus 135 to minus 135 also, a bandwidth being considered. Now here, to analyze the SAR, what we have to do in HFSS nowadays, the models are being available from 19, ready-made phantom models are available. So I worked on HFSS 14, so model wasn't available, so I had to create the model of the head. So these are the properties, because with reference to particular frequency, your conductivity and permittivity will change. If I'm using 2.45, all the properties will change, and I have to build a model using this conductivity and relative permittivity values. So these are the thickness of the solid which we have created, and it is the mass density of the phantom what we have created. So these properties are available on ITIS Foundation, a Sweden website. They continuously go on updating. So they give the database is free. You can simply put the frequency and download the properties of all the parts. You can get about the pancreas, you can get about the different parts, wrist, in bones, muscles, whatever, all, heart, kidney. If you're working on special, some of the health applications. So one of my friends is working on tumors, so he has downloaded different properties from the same hyperthermia treatment. So this is the model what we have earlier created, as circular shape. The same antenna is placed over here, and in CST 17, this head model is available, SAM Phantom. So what you could see is that these are some of the results what we are going to discuss without EBG and with EBG. What you could see is by using EBG, the measured, what you could see is my bandwidth has been enhanced. So it is from 1685 to 1929. Again, you could see over here also, this is with EBG and without EBG. My bandwidth has been enhanced, so more portion will come below 2 in case of VSWR. This is what we could see. These are the radiation patterns. So this is with EBG, my radiation pattern is much smoother in case of E plane and H plane. This is for one particular unit cell donut shaped pattern in case of E and H, both the planes. So what you could see is these are the gain plots. 2.2 was the gain, simulated value of the gain of the antenna, which is without EBG. Then this is for one particular gain for one particular unit cell, that is 1.22 into 10 raised to minus 2. So the smaller patch 6 into 6 is going to contribute into around 0.012 dB of the gain. But if I have an array of around 9 into, bigger the array, the gain enhanced will be more. So over here around 36 elements were being used, 9 to 2 and 6 into 2. So 9 into 2, 18, 18 on the opposite side and 12, 12 on to opposite side. Total 60 elements of small unit cells. That has enhanced my gain to around 34%. So 2.2 was the gain without EBG, and with EBG now it is 2.95. So this is how the enhancement, gain enhancement can be achieved, whereas the pattern smoothing can be achieved. So what you could see, the most important part is specific absorption rate. So this is using HFSS based on the color shade. You have to identify what could be the value. But over here, it gives direct exact value in case of CST. So CST is much better in case if I go with for specific SAR measurement. So without EBG, at 1.8 for 1 gram of tissue, it was 2.09, and for, because it is above the limit, my limit is 1.6 watts per kg. Now it is 2.09. So how do I minimize that? Even though I have a fantastic gain, I have a much better radiation pattern, better directivity, still my antenna will be rejected part, will be a scrap part, because I do not fulfill the compliance part. So over here, the SAR is being reduced to 0.533, much below the permissible level. So this is the antenna surrounded by your EBG pattern. So this is how is being utilized, and myself, Anirudh, and our team has been have been come up with very innovative and very low cost solution of measuring the antenna. How I measure the antenna in open air. In case of anechoic chamber, to build an anechoic chamber, I require around 30 to 40 lakhs investment. So why not to use this entire measurement setup is around for rupees 5,000. So these are GPS locating devices, and we have tested antenna in live environment as you use in your handset. So these are walkie-talkie, the programmable walkie-talkies. Normally these walkie-talkies are using much lower bands in megahertz, around 415 or 470 megahertz. But these were programmed for 6 different channels, and the band was tuned to 1.8. The antenna is 1.8, 1.8, the same frequency, but only with the EBG structure. And this was the main base station antenna. And these two were roaming antennas and well communicated. So if time permits, I'll show you the video, small 4 minutes video on this, how we have evaluated the radiation pattern. And I could show you in MapSource is one of the software. In live environment, we could check how much range I am getting and what is my radiation pattern. So this is the radiation pattern, omnidirectional, what is required in most of the mobile handsets or handheld devices. And this is the range, around 300 meters we have covered, ideally by providing 0.5 watts input power. So 1 watt power corresponds to, in ideal scenario, your range should be 900 meters. 900 meters for 1 watt power. So for 0.5 watt power, our range was around 320 meters. Ideally, it should be 450, but it was. So this is how you could see on a Google Earth. The another GPS locating devices could give me, these devices will give me actual scenario from the satellite. So these are satellite enabled devices. What you could see is, so this is the actual scenario. In Pune, Nare MIDC, we have tested this. You could see the houses and how the subscriber was meter per hour in a car, and he was roaming and continuously talking. So this is the pattern what we have traced. So some of the observations what we could see is already we have discussed, so nothing much in discussing these conclusions. So mostly what we could see is radiation patterns are is enhanced, as well as a particular stop band. Beyond that particular band, 1.8, whatever the bandwidth I required was around 200 megahertz. Above that, the entire band was blocked. So much finer selective receiver you can design using EBG. This is one of the prominent feature of EBG. Now, in case of selective receivers, nobody has yet used EBG structure. This is one of the objective you can set and you can use it. So deploying EBG structure will reduce SAR considerably. So the main intention was to reduce the SAR. So this was the another design, annular ring, basic design. So these are the formulas through which the length and width were calculated. So design with earlier with the partial ground. The antenna is well-known monopole, circular monopole antenna. In case of KP Raybook, you could find the same design with some of the different dimensions. Now that has turned out into annular ring. Then the main thing over here was the SAR was very exhaustive. SAR wasn't coming in the range of 1.6, below 1.6. So what we thought of, the novelty of this particular design is giving two different input feeds. Normally, in case of mobile phones or in case of your tablet PCs or tabs, what is being done, feed element is a single with 1 watt power. Now here we have reduced down that power to 0.5 watt with different phase angles. So at port 1, my phase angle is 0. At port 2, my phase angle is 180 degrees phase shifted. So due to the length and width, which is in the proportion of lambda, right? So both inputs will superimpose over each other and again enhancement will be achieved. Or here, instead of partial ground, so as to achieve multi-band operation, what has to be done? In case of partial ground, I was getting only 1 or 2 bands. In case of multi-system, the requirement of antenna, the antenna should resonate at different frequencies, a single antenna. So that was the reason why we went for multi-band operation. So circular DGS, defect in ground is being made, and multi-band operation. So this is the fabricated prototype. This particular paper is, this work is published in PRB recently in October 2020. So this is the equivalent circuit of the DGS. So this is the DGS and rest. This is my ring part. This is another ring part, annular inner and outer, whereas these are the different feeds, feed 1 and feed 2. So what you could see is the parametric study. What we did for different dimensions was feed length we could observe. So it was optimized to 23 mm. Then different widths, feed widths, it was optimized to 3.6 mm. What you could get depending on the reflection coefficient, what you are getting, or S11 or a return loss, what you are getting. So this is the orange mark. What you could see is with the reduced ground, with full ground, with partial ground, and with the 25% ground and the circular ground, what you could see. So this is the wideband antenna, which started resonating after 700 megahertz to 4 gigahertz. So this is the gain, 2 and above, a good gain. For all the bands, 900 megahertz, what your mobile handset or a tablet PC covers, 900, 1.8, 2.4, 3.5. For all the bands, my pattern is good one. But the enhanced copy, what you could see in this case, if I go with the higher frequencies, so 1.8 and above, I could see only one major lobe, right? Whereas in this case, I could find 2 lobes. Where in this case, I could find 4 lobes, right? So side lobes were getting generated. So now how do I minimize these side lobes? Was a challenge for us. So we know the property of EBG. We used the EBG along with this, and the side lobes were reduced. I could show some of the results to that. So these are directive plots. So what you could see, the VSWR from 0.9, because we have to cover 900 megahertz and so on. So 800 onwards, the entire band up to 4 gigahertz, only except this particular 2 points, a smaller narrow band from 2 to 2.3. It was going above 2. Most important part as far as SAR is concerned, I must control these losses. So we get these losses. So what kind of losses are there? So this red line is losses in dielectric. These are the most dominant losses in case of your normal material. That is why we choose better tan delta. Lesser value of the tan delta, my losses will reduce. So dielectric losses will reduce. So automatically my SAR will get reduced. But if I choose a Roger, the 8x8 PCB will cost me around 12,000, 8,000, depending on the material, dielectric material, 2.2 and onwards, or might be in case of MICS band, 10.2. So that will cost me much high. So my cost will increase in case of if I prefer Roger. If I want to produce low cost antennas, in that case my FR4 is better. So in case of FR4, I need to have something different which will minimize these losses. So by providing different two inputs, my losses have been reduced. So this is the antenna which, when placed along with the phantom, we have seen the reflection coefficient, how my reflection coefficient varies when my antenna interacts with some another body. So this will absorb, so will act as a conductor. So 900 megahertz, 1.8. What you could see over here, for a particular band, my SAR value will be more, and that is 2.3 for 900 megahertz. Whereas as my frequency increases, my SAR value comes into control. 1.8, 1.3 value, well within the range. 2.4, 0.98, well within the range. For 3.5 gigahertz WiMAX applications, 1.3, well within the range. Now what if I am working on indoor? Because if I choose a handheld device and if I move into some closed area, my frequency is going to get shifted. So Reliance nowadays uses two different frequency. One is 750 megahertz, another is 1800 megahertz. So in indoor environment, my frequency is 750 megahertz. In outdoor environment, it is 1.8 or 1.9 gigahertz. This is how antenna operates, or nowadays multi-system devices operates. So I have to maintain for all the bands. So this is the radiation pattern, what you could see in XZ, YZ and XY planes. So very smooth for all the bands. This is donut shape only at higher bands, because we have seen the 4 lobes. So I could see here 4 lobes, side lobes, but the pattern is good one. This is E plane, H plane patterns, what you could see. Now SAR for annular ring antenna, what you could see as because what we did, we have removed most of the conducting portion. Without change in the band, what we have obtained, we have enhanced, we have reduced, we have tried to reduce SAR value. Just a moment, my mouse is troubling me. But you could see in earlier case it was 2.3, now it has reduced to 2.1, right? So we are focusing only one, because all other bands are within the limits, right? So still, in case of annular ring antenna, it has not helped us much. So we did another parametric study for defect in ground. So what we could see is we have removed ground portion. We have conductor is being removed, 10 mm slot, circular slot, then 15, 20, 25, and so on, up to 45 mm. Now I tried what is being observed at 45. What you could see, the entire band will come below -10, and as my frequency increasing, it is going above, right? So I will be getting a multi-band operation. We targeted this to get a multi-band operation using circular DGS. In earlier case also I was getting multi-band operation, but now I can get the entire band being covered from 0 to 4 gigahertz. That was the target. So with single feed, what we achieved was a multi-band, 900, 1.8, 2.4, and 3.5. All bands were covered. These are simulated and measured results. Whereas if I have reduced the I have used a dual input with reduced power, so that my SAR will come at a lower side, right? So that was the reason being using a dual feed. And what you could see, all bands are covered over here. Entire 0 to 4 is below -10. Is below -10. All bands are covered. With the port 1, 0 degree phase, port 2, 180 degree phase. And this was dual feed. Now you could see use of dual feed. What it has enhanced? It has the multi-band antenna has turned out into what? Wide band antenna. First thing. Second thing, my gain is being boosted up, enhanced, right? Earlier I have shown you it was around 2.02. Now it is 2.98, close to very 3. My gain is being much better position. So at 900 megahertz, 2.98, 4.75 at 1.8, 5.36 at 2.4, and 5.73 at 3.5 gigahertz. So gain is increasing drastically with reference to the frequency. So this is what being observed. And another thing what you could observe over here is my side lobe. Earlier I was getting 2 lobes, now that has been vanished. In this case, in case of 3.5, I was getting 4 side lobes, dominant lobes. Now it has been much, my radiation pattern is much directive in this case. This has happened. So this is how we optimize performance by using different tricks, different FSS. So FSS is a promising solution to this. What you could see, much better radiation pattern. Okay. The only inverted pattern is for 2.4 gigahertz over here. What you could see is the major lobe is in some another direction. Now see at the power losses, this was the earlier power loss what you could see with reference to the single feed. Look at the gap. So the scale over here is around 0.05 watts power loss. If I go on talking on a phone for more than 10 minutes, automatically my ear will sweat. It starts sweating. This will happen if my power loss, dielectric losses are more, and nearby components will also may burn out. Now, if you look at this, you can look at the scale. What you could see is 0.02. These are my dielectric losses. Conductive portion losses are less. Still, we choose lossy material to simulate. If we choose the loss-free material, then this losses in metal will vanish. But ideally, that kind of material is not available. So this is how the losses is being reduced by using dual feeds. So this is SAR for dual feed. What you could see is drastically SAR have been reduced. Earlier it was 2. Now for 900 megahertz, it is 0.695 with the help of dual feeds. Port 1, 0.5 watt, 0 phase. Port 2, 0.5 watt, 180 degree phase. We have simultaneously given input to both the ports. Both the waves are superimposed and back lobes are being reduced. So my SAR is being reduced simply by playing a trick, feeding half power with phase difference on both the ports. The same concept was extended because the size of the antenna was not suitable for smaller handsets, slimmer handsets. The size was 110 by 120 mm. So it was suitable for calling tablet. So this is the comparison given in case of SAR. So by simply using by defective ground, my SAR is reduced to maybe around 80%. The another is miniaturization of the same. What simple concept we can use, because my structure will resonate for every lambda, fraction of the lambda, right? If I'm using lambda by 2 or lambda by 4 for a design, I can go into a fraction of the lambda. Lambda by 4, get a multiplying factor and design the structure. You can automatically miniaturize. Or in a simulation tool also, you have an option in a macros, you can go for optimize the design and the simulator will work for you. So this was the reduced smaller portion. So you could see 120 has been reduced to 50. So almost length is reduced to 40. Length is reduced to 40. That means 3 times reduction is being achieved. Now, to get some certain different characteristics, what we could do is we can play with character mode theory. In this case, we have played with the character modes. That is some another topic. It will take much time to cover this, how we can play with the modes. So this is how a parametric study was carried out, and we could see with size reduction what I could achieve. Whether can I see in case of size reduction by 2, what you could see, the broadening can be observed in this orange wave. If you could see the blue, it is much narrower, right? So these are my harmonics, F1, F2, F3, and so on, which has to be blocked, right? So what the intention was to broaden the pattern, right? The waves. So this is how we have played with the outer. This is completely trial and error basis we did on this. Outer ring radius and inner ring radius. The ratio has been completely reduced to. So what you could see over here, if we analyze the surface current, The spurious radiations are near the feed over here. So I thought, why to optimize? In earlier case, we have to optimize SAR over, we have to reduce the SAR for 900 megahertz. But now what I can find is more amount of energy will move back to the feed because my feeds are giving spurious radiations, right? So why not to optimize only for 2.4? So we started working, because by practice your understanding becomes better. And so the unit cell characterization was done using some another different method called as reflection phase method. In earlier case, we used suspended line method. In this case, we used reflection phase method just to simply identify, because that was used in HFSS, this is used in CST. So over here, the vias are created, the patch was evaluated, whereas analyzed for a particular frequency, and you could find the upper and below lows are perfectly matched layers, whereas certain boundary conditions are placed. You get all these contents available in that. What in case of CST, you need not have to put boundary conditions. Automatically, the simulation software will do it for you. So these are the, in earlier case, simply I was having a M shape, right? In this case, I have extended this particular portion, this L portion, small L portion on both the sides. So my resonant frequency has been changed. So my band has been broadened. So the frequency, due to the dimensions, my frequency, the center frequency or phase 0 comes around at 2.37. So my target was 2.4 over here, because my surface current was more. If you could see the value over here, it crosses 90, whereas for others, it is below 80, right? That means I have targeted this particular value because my surface current is more in this case. Definitely E field will be more and SAR value will go higher. So why not to target only? Because for multi-band, I have to build different narrowband EBG structures, right? So this was the target, 2.4 gigahertz. So these near feed, the placement of EBG cell is simply by observing the surface current. The feeds are acting as a spurious, so why not to place this around the feeds, unit cells? So that was the idea behind this. And second review is submitted. This paper will be published in IET. So now, as the size was reduced, we wanted to test it in live environment. So we have changed the phantom model, and how my radiation pattern deteriorates, how it changes when I place the particular antenna into actual handset and use it along with the model. So this was the properties being used for the model. The model now is available in CST 19. You can import the model and use this model. So this was the power being reduced. What you could see is half power. The same concept was used. The entire band 0 to 12 ultra wide band antenna has turned out to, because the size is miniaturized. So further more bands have been included. The frequency is being expanded. So my antenna, wide band antenna 0 to 4 has turned out into what? 0 to 12 ultra wide band antenna. The entire band of applications. You can fit this antenna with any of the application if your size is compatible, if you have a space in the system. So this is what we did, simulated, measured, and this is when I have placed the antenna with handset, only simulated portion, because I cannot measure these results when placed with the handset. So this is what you could see at a particular 5.5 gigahertz, the simulated result. Because most of the properties of the hand and head model are around 4 to 6. So it has deviated my return loss characteristics. So this is very smooth pattern what we could observe in earlier case also. This is without EBG, and with EBG much finer. This is without EBG. You could simply analyze the gain also over here, much finer, right? So over here my cross polarization levels or back lobes are being reduced, whereas over here my back lobes are more dominant, whereas over here it has become lesser. So my front to back ratio is being enhanced. Definitely SAR will get reduced. So this is the gain what you could see. So what we have achieved is at 2.4, 82.86% reduction was achieved. Without EBG, it was giving 1.9, and with EBG, it is giving 0.326. Huge, tremendous reduction. So this was achieved, and you could see, I'll show you only for 2.4. So this is 2.4, 1.904. When without EBG, you could see the antenna fitted over here into the case of your mobile phone. And over here, you could see, if it is visible, so the EBG structures are placed near the feed. It is for 2.4, it is 0.3262. So this was achieved using this antenna. Then the size reduction was achieved. Further, by using EBG structure, further SAR was reduced. So this was another design what we could work with. So around 6 different. Professor Mahesh, can I take further 5 minutes? I crossed already the deadline.
Yes, sir. Yes, no problem.
Because I need to show some of the designs which are very interesting. Simple monopole antenna with partial ground, what we can achieve. Now, what we have tried with only top surface. The unit cells were placed on the only top surface, surrounded by the antenna. We tried it on the back surface also in this design. So this was from 2.4 to 12 gigahertz. But mostly we use, for applications, we use this particular band. So I have focused on only these particular bands, 2.4, 3.5, and 5.5. So this was one of the design, simple monopole antenna. The radiation patterns, what you could see at different frequencies. Then the SAR value, tremendous rise in SAR value, 1.5 only at 2.4, whereas it has crossed much higher limits. At 5.5 gigahertz, 8.5. In case of variable, you have only option for this particular antenna. If you make this antenna on a flexible material, it will work as a variable antenna because it covers all the bands. Only according to your dielectric material, according to your thickness of the material, your dimensions will change. That's it. Nothing wrong in this antenna. So what you could do is, so the SAR value was much tremendously high in this case, 8.5. So we come up with top surface with M shape, earlier designed EBG cell. We placed 2, then we placed 4 on each side. So 8 unit cells. Still my SAR, show you the still my SAR is 3.5. But from 8, it has reduced to 3.5. So that was the achievement. But still it is not into a permissible limits, right? But 5.5, if we work on this particular frequencies of 3.5 and 5.5, we normally do not use this for a calling, right? We use this particular frequencies for different applications like your Wi-Fi and all, when my device is away from the body. So there is no major restriction. But what happens if I use MIMO antennas? One antenna for calling, another antenna for these different applications, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. In this case, nowadays, in recent handsets, we have multiple antennas being fitted, right? Now, in this case, what happens? Both your antennas are active, are consuming the power, right? In that case, they will superimpose SAR, and your SAR will tremendously increase. So we have placed that on the back of the material, M shape, right? We have analyzed. The patterns are almost similar. The gain is also slightly varying because the number of cells placed were less, so it will not contribute much. So this has reduced plenty in case 0.56 at lower bands. Higher band, it has increased. Why? Now, what is the reason why it has increased for 5.5? Because most of the surface current is around this portion for 5.5. Most of, if you could clearly observe the radiation pattern, what you could see, 2 lobes for 5.5, 2 back lobes, if you could see. So 0 as well as at 180, what I could find, both are spurious. That means towards the feed also as well as towards this portion also. So if I place that. So either the waves radiated from this end will move into head, or radiated from this end will move into head, either in chick position, right? That has happened for 5.5. So most of the radiations are over here, far field. So 7.485. Suddenly it has drastically increased when I use it on a top, when I use it on a back side, because the structures are frequency dependent. Now we have designed another spiral shape. If you could see this shape of this, you could see smaller portion, 6. So this track, the gap between this track is 0.1 mm. 0.1 mm. You need to have very much good fabrication accuracy. If you could see, this is our fabricated prototype. If you could see, gap between the tracks is 0.1 mm. So what you could see, 7 by 7 along with the substrate, but the conducting portion is only 6. So again, we have placed it on the top because this particular structure has given us a different characteristics. Reflection. Just a moment, if I could see the phase reversal characteristics of this material. Now see, over here in XZ plane, what you could see is for 2.4 and 3.5, 180 is acting as a major axis, whereas in this case of 5.5, 0 is acting as a major axis. That means dominant radiation is at 0 degrees, whereas in this case, dominant radiation towards the field. This has happened. Now, how do I minimize this? Again, 4.4, much beyond the limit for spiral also, because this the spiral gave us very good, because in case of spiral we have used only simple planar structure. Earlier structure was mushroom type, hole through that. Over here there is no hole in case of spiral structure, if you could see. So simple planar, uniplanar structure, spiral, EBG. Now we have used that on the back side of, because most of the 5.5 radiations was over here, right, on the top side. So we have put it on the back side where the spurious radiations for 5.5 gigahertz might be coming out. So that has been seen, is being observed. Now you could see the lobe, what it was going here for 5.5 has pulled back, is pulled back inside, right? That has happened due to placement of this. And this will reduce my SAR to certain extent. So still what we got at the simulated, it was 4.46, the simulated value. Then we used a novel concept called as hybrid. 2 4-unit cells, mushroom type, and 4 spiral type. This was the novel design which is published into AEM, Advanced Electromagnetics. What you could see, 4 through via and 4 without via. This has given us very extraordinary results in case of SAR. The patterns, again, all are similar. But what you could see is for 5.5, all were around more than 3 watts per kg, right? But for 5.5, it has been reduced down to 1.11, much below 1.6, what was desired. And already these bands were lesser than 1.6. This was our achievement. These were the designs what I wanted to conclude. A comparative statement is over here. So we would conclude this presentation to, we have used EBG for SAR reduction. The similar designs you can work on different material, that work can also be published. But the more challenging task nowadays is to get wideband or ultra wideband EBG structures. You can model your thesis around this, designing different EBG structures on wideband or ultra wideband structures. So these are some of the references what we could see is. Thank you, Mahesh sir. I'm open for the questions.
Yes, thank you, Professor Mahesh Munde, sir. Now it's time to have a discussion. If any participant has a questions, please ask the questions. Let me see if anything is there in the chat box. Sir, Suganti madam is asking one question.
Yeah.
Please explain about human head model. How to use for simulation in CST. Can you?
Yeah, actually, it is in a record mode.
Okay.
And, I cannot show the simulation part over here. I could have, I'm extremely sorry, I could have shown.
Okay. Can I give your number to Suganti madam such that
Yeah. She can get in personal touch with me. I can show her different models.
Yes. Suganti madam, is that okay?
I'll give her through either Teams or through any of this.
Yes.
portal.
Yes. Okay. Any other question from any participant?
If they wish to see the video how we have tested that, because nowadays testing is difficult. You can simulate, you can get some institute copy, but testing antenna, how my antenna is working is very difficult.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that open air test can be performed. Professor Mahesh, was it visible, the video?
Yes. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. Because it is around 2 minutes, I would like to show how we have worked on that, because the work was appreciated by much of the French scientists and US scientists.
Yes, sir.
The work was reviewed through that.
Yes.
And everyone can go through this particular testing technique, and it is approved. All the guidelines are given in, you could download over the air test. Most of the companies like Keysight and those who are providing measurement devices, they have their manual available on the portal for over the air test, because most of these companies, those who are manufacturing the handsets and all, they go with this test.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Where it is, I think I have closed that down. I was not sure whether it is playing or not.
Yes, it is playing, but audio is quite low, sir.
Loud and clear. So Canara Bank is this side. Canara Bank is this side. After this white color building, the Canara Bank is there. Like 300 meter away from this location. This test is called as an open area test, where one control station is there. You can look this is the antenna, which is the AMC antenna, and it is connected with this radio set. And here the channel settings are there. You can look in this type. The channel settings are there. All three radios are set on the same channel, but this is the control room.
Can you hear me?
So, and there is one station which is very close to us, which is talking, and second is meter to Pari Chowk. Means yeah, after 300 from this location, 500 meters away, the second mobile van is moving on the road, and you can see this is an open area test, which we started from this black color tank. You can see. And round, we can take this entire views of open area test reading with the help of GPS. And now our mobile van is just beyond this building. We can't locate with the help of this camera, but we can catch the voice.
Loud and clear. Mobile 2 calling to control.
Yeah, Professor Mahesh, that's it from my side.
Very nice video, experimental setup you have shown. Hope
Yeah, the
participants.
handheld devices you can buy in around 800 rupees.
Yes,
Two
sir.
handheld devices you require. You go on talking. You can find the nulls also, where you are getting range, where you are not getting the range.
Yes, yes, sir. That experiment we can do. Yes, sir. Yes, any other participant has any questions? If you have, please ask the question. Anyone else? Let me check in the chat box if something is there. Yes. Mail ID of resource person. Suganti madam is asking. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I will
yes.
provide all the details of all the resource persons to you. Don't worry. Yeah.
I've sent my mail ID in the chat.
Box.
Yeah.
Okay. So here
As
is
well,
the
I'll give my WhatsApp number.
right, sir. Right. Hope everyone is noting my Professor Mahesh Munde sir's mail ID.
Because
And
we have very good fabrication machine also. The machine cost is 35 lakhs, a German-made machine. We can create tracks up to 0.1 mm.
right, sir. Right.
Very sensible designs can be created.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session. You have just explained about like how EBG structures can be used for improving the different parameters of antenna, and also you have explained how SAR can be reduced with the different structures. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation at the nth moment. So I will be very glad to have you here today, and I thank you from Department of Electronics and Telecommunication from Sweris College of Engineering, Pandharpur. Thank you, sir. I also thank the participants who are all listening patiently since from the morning. So on behalf of department and the Sweris College of Engineering, Pandharpur, I would like to thank all the participants also. So thank you. We are closing the session here for fourth day. And again, tomorrow is the last day. We will meet tomorrow again at 10 a.m. Thank you,
Professor Mahesh. Pleasure was mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much once again.
Shall I leave, sir?
Yes, sir. You can leave. Thank you.